Let me say something that might sting just a little. Some of the traits that have made you successful so far are exactly the traits that are making things so hard in this stage of your business. Your drive, your standards, your get shit done attitude, your hyperachiever wiring. They've built this successful business, but now they might be just the thing that's quietly exhausting you. Welcome to Female Founder Unplugged, the show where we cut through the noise and have a real, raw conversation about what it takes to build and scale a successful business as a female entrepreneur. I'm Lindsay White, people strategy expert, leadership coach, and fellow founder. And I know firsthand the challenges of scaling sustainably and staying connected to your passion along the way. This podcast is for ambitious women just like you, seasoned founders and CEOs navigating the challenges of leadership, team building, and sustainable growth. In each episode, we'll dive into those topics that are most important to you as a female founder. You'll hear honest, no BS conversations about building, growing, and leading a team and culture so that you can grow without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship can feel isolating, and leadership doesn't come with a roadmap. If you've ever struggled with the pressure of running a business, felt overwhelmed by growing your team, or wondered, how do I scale without sacrificing my vision and my purpose, you're in the right place. Let's get unplugged. My friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of Female Founder Unplugged. And welcome to the messy middle. This is the part in your business that no one prepares you for. And this is where your leadership actually gets real. And it gets real uncomfortable. It's a lot less glamorous than Instagram would have you believe, my friends. And here's the thing. No one tells you that when you move from founder, those original creation stages of your business, and start to move into that CEO space, that you have to stop being the hero that fixes everything. And man, it feels good to be the hero. That the favorite who keeps everyone happy is not you anymore. And that you have to stop being the expert who just does it best. You have to stop being the person that has all the answers. And what you have to become is the person who sets standards, who defines accountability, and who makes the hard calls. You have to be the person who actually creates the vision and champions the culture. And let's be real. That is absolutely not the part they glamorize on the socials, on the Instas, on the LinkedIns, on the TikToks. Because this identity shift, it is hella uncomfortable. Mostly because you care. And you built this thing with heart. You've heard me say it before. Your blood, your sweat, your tears, most of your life savings are invested in this business being successful. And part of it is also that you don't want to be that boss. We all know who we're talking about. That hideously toxic, narcissistic, sociopathic gaslighter. For most of us, that's why we left the corporate world. But my friends, leadership is not about being liked. And I think this is where we do get a little bit messy between our scrappy startup stage and moving into like real successful business ownership and being a CEO, is that it's not about being liked. It's not about being loyal. It is about being clear and holding people accountable. And the tricky part is that clarity feels sharper than most of us are used to. And it's tricky. And it is a real part of the messy middle. And the messiness, part of it is our leadership. It's our evolution. And evolutions are never easy. So let me tell you a little bit of story here about a founder that I have recently been working with who has really been second guessing just about everything. She is brilliant. She is deeply experienced. She is a real expert at what she does. Her clients adore her. Her team respects her. And my friends, she is constantly second guessing herself. Every decision, every hire, every piece of feedback, every conversation that she needs to have. Her saboteur, that trash talk, that inner critic is so loud. And I'm telling you, you would never know it from the outside looking in. But her saboteur says things like, you're being too harsh. They won't like you. What if you're wrong? You should have this all figured out by now. Oh, that last one, right? That hits home. All the shoulding. We should all over ourselves. So what did she do? Well, till we started working together, she was avoiding the crunchy conversations. She was softening the feedback. And really, it resulted in some messy pieces. There was a real lack of clarity. And ultimately, what she hoped is that things would just sort themselves out. I think to some degree, she actually hoped that people would just sort of pick up what she was putting down. And here's the sad truth. Your team does not come equipped with crystal balls. They are not mind readers. And so, it was such a spoiler for her when I said, like, they don't get it because you're not being clear. And that was really hard to hear. That this was actually her leadership problem, as much as it perhaps was her team failing. And here's the messy, messy, messy truth. When leaders avoid clarity, the team operates in confusion. So, my friend, if you are not clear and you are not making yourself clear, your team is confused. They're doing the best they can. They're picking up the pieces. They're juggling the balls, and they're doing it in the way that they think you want, not the way they know you want. So this founder, she thought her team that everything was fine. She thought they were doing the things. And that, perhaps they were making some mistakes. But everyone was feeling like they were running in different directions. People were actually really struggling to figure out, were they doing a good job? Were they delivering what she wanted? Was this in line with where the business was going? And of course, what happened as a result, the business started to stall. Not because there was a lack of revenue or a lack of clients. In fact, quite the opposite. But because of the leadership friction, because of the lack of clarity, because we were in the messy middle. Now, I want to talk to you for a minute about the saboteur. And many of you have listened to the show for long enough. You know that this is a constant topic of conversation. Because really actually understanding our saboteurs, who are those inner critic voices? What does those conversations sound like? This is really critical. And inside the accelerator, I really blend in this positive intelligence work, and positive intelligence really grounds into, who are my saboteurs? Who are those jerks in my head? The itty bitty shitty committee that's constantly judging and talking. And I think for many of us, we can really feel that. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of trash talk. My friends, this is not fluffy manifest your dreams, okay? This is real, practical, how my brain misfires under pressure. There is real neuroscience, right? This is real science behind this. You've heard me talk about the LPC Accelerator. It's where we do the real work, the leadership strategy, the people systems, and culture that actually holds when things get hard. It's part one-on-one coaching, part mastermind, and it's all about helping you lead with clarity, not chaos. If you've been listening and thinking, this is what I've been missing, our next cohort kicks off March the 2nd, and there's a spot for you. If you want to grow without burning out, this is the room to be in. You can send me a DM today to learn more, or check out the link in the show notes and it'll take you right to the page. And for those of us that are female founders, there is one saboteur that most often gets in our way. And it's called the hyperachiever. So this is when I am a high achiever gone rogue. And if you're quietly nodding, if you're thinking, yeah, it sounds about right, I am. I'm totally talking to you. And yes, I'm talking to myself too. I'm going to tell on myself here. I am a hyperachiever. I am constantly hustling for my self-worth. I am constantly looking for someone to give me a gold star. I am constantly thinking that I'm not successful enough. I'm not working hard enough. I'm not building fast enough. If any of that, even a little bit, sounds like you might be a hyperachiever. Because this is what the hyperachiever saboteur says. If I just work harder, everything will be fine. If I just push a little more, we'll get there. It's faster if I just do it. I can carry it. I can grind it out. I can hustle harder. My friends, on the outside, it looks like ambition. It looks like excellence. It looks like drive and hustle. But underneath, it's anxiety in a very polished blazer. It's overwhelm that looks like functional. It is exhaustion that looks like someone who can pop back up. But the hyperachiever never stops driving you. It never stops whipping you. And this is the tricky. It's really hard to admit this, even for me. And I've been doing this work for several years. You know, I do these boot camps where I take people through this. You're getting a crash course today. But what happens is our hyperachiever ties our self-worth to our output. It ties our self-worth to our success level. So revenue becomes validation. Our productivity becomes our identity, and that's a scary one. And being the capable one becomes who we are, right? Being exhausted and overwhelmed becomes a badge of honor. And it's 7 figures, even with a team, even with momentum, even with a great pipeline. There's still a quiet voice inside that says it's not good enough. And that's the energy that's built your business to today. But in the messy middle, this is what bottlenecks your growth. This is what keeps things feeling sticky and ucky and messy and a little bit out of control. And my friends, there's a ripple effect. And this is important. When hyperachiever energy runs unconsciously, your team is feeling it. So here's what happens. You are jumping in too quickly. You're fixing things before people get a chance to learn or own. You're redoing work silently. Don't pretend you haven't done that. You're avoiding direct feedback because you'll just handle it. It'll fix itself. And you keep standards in your head instead of articulating them, and you keep your team guessing. And so what happens is your team is then waiting for approval. They become dependent, and it doesn't feel like they own the outcomes. They play smaller than you need them to. And you can see how this becomes a vicious cycle. And then you're thinking, why am I the only one that sees what needs to happen? Why am I the only one that takes initiative? Why aren't they more accountable? Well, you're not. You're still holding all the weight. And that ripple effect really impacts your culture. We're going to talk about culture in an episode here in the next couple of weeks. It really impacts accountability because they actually don't know. You are not clear with them. And then when you do give them something, you take it away. You step in. And that affects their confidence, and it affects their growth. And ultimately affects the growth in your organization. Not because you're doing something wrong. This is your saboteur. And it is happening unconsciously. And you need to evolve. Your leadership needs to elevate if you want them to elevate too. So how do I know? Oh, Lindsay, oh my gosh, I think this might be me. Maybe I'm a hyperachiever. Oh my God, am I stymieing the growth of my business? Okay, here's 5 signs you haven't stepped yet into fully being a CEO and that your saboteur might be getting in the way. So, number 1, you're still the final decision maker on almost everything. Like if your team can't move without your approval, you are the bottleneck, my friend. I love you. You're doing great, but you're in the way. Number 2, you're avoiding difficult conversations. Like, I'll deal with it later. It'll be fine. They'll figure it out. It's not that bad. If you're choosing comfort over clarity, oh my gosh, you, my friend, have not completely stepped into your CEO space, and your saboteur might be running the show. Number 3, if you're unclear where accountability begins and ends, if someone is underperforming and your first instinct is, I should have explained that better. I mean, that might be true, but it might also mean that ownership isn't clean, that you really have not delegated the way you thought you did. That's a sign. Number 4, if you're exhausted from decision fatigue, like if you get to Thursday and think, I cannot make one more fucking decision in my business. If you've made 100,000 micro decisions this week, it is not scalable. That is survival with a better looking revenue line. You, my friend, have a problem and you have not become the CEO. You may have the letters after your name, but you are not acting like a CEO. And the last one, if you secretly wish someone would just tell you the right move, and Lord, I have said this out loud myself, can somebody just tell me what to do here? And that's because the leadership at this level doesn't come with the rule book, my friend. Like there's no playbook for this. Well, there is, but you got to do the work. And my friends, it's lonely. Being in this space is very isolating. And I want to recognize that. But that's an indication that your saboteur might be getting in the way. And like there's ripple effects here for your whole business. So if any one or two of these landed for you, you need a leadership upgrade, girlfriend. You're not failing. You are growing and your business needs you to do this growth in order for it to continue to be successful and for you to lead your team. Okay. So it's time. It's time. If you're nodding, it's time. So this is the work we do in the LPC Accelerator. We clarify roles. We build communication systems. We define performance expectations. And then we upgrade your leadership so that you can actually make those things work for you and for your business and for your team. The real work here is done in a one-on-one coaching space so that we can actually unpack and tackle your saboteurs. Who are you working with? Who are those jerks in your head? We examine where that worth is tied to output, where you're constantly looking for somebody to give you a gold star. Because let's be honest, nobody's coming to do that. It's your business. You're a big kid. We can practice the hard conversations. We can give you the tools. We can give you the strategies and structures so that you can do them, and then we practice them. That's the work we do. We define your leadership in a way that aligns with your values. Who are you as a leader? Who do you want to be? Not some corporate caricature or some bro marketer online. It's deeply personal work, right? And I do this with clients all the time in the accelerator. And so what happens is the language changes. So I have a client who's, the language used to be, I hope this goes well. And now she says, this is the standard. This is what we're doing. This is the expectation. Instead of her saying, I don't want to upset them. I don't want them, I don't want them to be unhappy. She says, my job is to create clarity. And I can do that with kindness. That's really important. You know what's happened with this client? Now that she's clear and she's holding people accountable and she's leading from a place of real passion and commitment, her team is rising. Because most people don't need a softer leader. They need a steadier one. That's the work we do in the accelerator. So if you're brave enough, here's some reflection questions for you. And we're going to put these in the show notes as well. Question number 1, where's my self-esteem and my self-worth tied to how much I produce? If you stepped out for a month, who would you be? Question number 2, am I overfunctioning? Like, where is that happening? Where am I rescuing instead of developing? That's important. And then reflection number 3, what conversations am I avoiding because I don't want to be perceived negatively? I don't want to be the bad boss. Are you prioritizing being liked over being clear and holding people accountable? Because my friend, clarity is not cruelty. Clarity is leadership. Brene Brown tells us clear is kind. And in the same token, being unclear is actually unkind. So this is why I have built the one-on-one work into the LPC accelerator, right? This is exactly why we need that one-on-one time. It's so powerful because a lot of these patterns are super unconscious. You're like programmed. You don't wake up thinking, today I'm going to sabotage my leadership and blow up my business. That's not a thing. You wake up thinking, I just need to get through today without dropping everything or crying. And in our one-on-one sessions, what we can do is slow it down. We can name the saboteur. We can unpack the stories. We can actually calm your nervous system. And this is really key. And we can really get that running on performance and excellence in a way that doesn't make you feel like you're always hustling. We separate the ambition from the identity, and that part is critical. Your ambition is not the problem. Your unexamined ambition is. Like, who's really driving the bus here? Is it you or is it your saboteur? And when we shift that internal conversation, you're going to feel it immediately, and so is your team, right? You're going to show up differently, and they're going to start to take ownership. They're going to step up. They're going to grow, and you're going to stop carrying the entire emotional weight of your business. So, my friend, this is your strategic edge. You cannot scale a business sustainably if your nervous system is running on constantly proving your worth. You will just scale the exhaustion. You will scale the dependency. You will scale pressure. This messy middle is not just structural. It certainly has structural elements, but it very much is internal. It's very much personal. And leadership, your leadership, is the lever that you can control the most. This is the key work. So let me leave you with this today. If your business doubled tomorrow, would your leadership expand with it? Or would your hyperachiever saboteur just work twice as hard and drive you into the ground? Because that's the real question. Again, that's the work that we do inside the accelerator. So we create the strategies and the space for the growth in your business so that your team can accelerate and that you can accelerate with them. That's the important work, my friend. So if this is the right time, if you are in the messy middle and you are feeling the heat as a leader, if you're constantly hustling for your self-worth and you know that that's got to change, if you need to create clarity and actually lead like a CEO, the LPC Accelerator is the right way to do that work. And we have a space for you. We have a community for you. You don't have to do it alone. What we're going to do is put a link in the show notes. You can go and check it out. And if you want to know more, you can book time with me to see if this is the right fit, because it's got to be the right fit. It's got to be the right fit for you. It's got to be the right fit for the community. So go check it out, take a look, and let me know if you have questions. Until next time, my friends, lead with heart, grow with purpose, and stay high voltage. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Female Founder Unplugged. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on Instagram at High Volt Leadership and send me your questions or let me know your biggest takeaway. Looking for more strategies on scaling your business, building a powerhouse team, or leading with confidence? Head over to highvoltageleadership.ca or follow me on LinkedIn for exclusive content, resources, and special offers just for listeners. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, the real magic happens when you're unplugged.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at mike@cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.